Welcome to Patches 53 on the road, Harlan. Clark Jordan for the first time.
Clark Jordan.
I never met Frank Vignola before. I tried a couple of times in New York and never happened. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You were not in town, but that was fine.
Well,
but
it's typical.
That happened. But it's so funny to meet him here, drinking some Canadian wine.
That's it.
Clos du Soleil.
Coffee for me.
Coffee for him. But he got a glass at the side there.
That's it, yep.
And yeah, Frank, tell me about your love of the music. I know you like to teach, you know, with all your book, and tell me about that love of gypsy jazz, of music.
Well, I remember life starting with my first guitar lesson, which was the age of 6. And my father played all Django Reinhardt and Les Paul records and Bucky Pizzarelli records around the house. So he would show me the chords to the songs, and I would sit there and play along with Django records. And he had a tenor banjo band. So the first, 8 years of my guitar playing, all I did was play rhythm guitar with records and with my father's bands. So I knew hundreds of songs by the time I was 13 years old.
Wow.
Which I think, back on it, it was a great way to start playing, just learn songs.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Les Paul. You have a great connection. He left us, of course. But,
yes, we were dear friends for almost 30 years. I first met Les when he emerged from retirement and started playing in downtown New York City.
Retirement.
Yeah, well, he did. He didn't, perform.
Yeah.
Because when rock and roll came in, Les's sales plummeted.
Mm-hmm.
So he, I guess, was trying to find his way. And then he started playing again, and after he had one of the first bypass surgeries, heart bypass surgeries, he was one of the first ones that were bypass surgery. And after that, the doctor said, you got to promise me one thing. You will continue playing the guitar. You'll play the guitar every day. Because he realized that that's what made him happy. So he emerged from retirement, came out to New York City, and had a little trio, which I think was, one of the greatest guitar trios ever in the last 100 years. And that's when I met him. I sat in, and we were friends ever since. He used to call me all the time in the middle of the night, because he used to stay up all night and sleep all day. So 3 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings. Hi, Les. He's the only one who would have been up.
And so, of course, he had a great connection. I mean, to
Django
and the
States. Of course,
States.
they were personal friends. Mm. He was going to bring Django to America to tour with Les Paul and Mary Ford in 1953. They had the tour set up. Django passed away in 1953. But he said when he went over to France to, set up the deal or whatever they were going to do to discuss it in 1952, he said he walked up 4 flights of stairs, walked into an apartment that was empty. He had nothing. Mm-hmm. And it was Django and Najine, his wife, and Babik,
yeah.
who was, I think, 12 at the time. So all he wanted was a record player. So Les bought him a record player. And then he passed away, and knowing that they had nothing, Les collected all the royalties that were owed to Django, and gave the money to the family.
For the funeral.
For the funeral, yeah. And then in return, Najine gave Les the guitar that Django had around the house, which was a Selmer, classic guitar. And I often wondered, I'd say to myself, how stories, as the years go on, they get bigger and bigger.
Nice, yeah.
But then when I met Babik, we did a guitar festival in New York in the year 2000, and Babik was one of the guests. And through his interpreter, who was Borelli Legren, ironically, who speaks English like he's from Ohio, really amazing. And he told me the same exact story that Les told me. And then when they saw each other, they hugged and they were crying. And I was like, wow, this is, for a guitar geek like me, that was a big deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
You mentioned Bucky Pizzarelli.
Bucky Pizzarelli.
I was lucky to meet him, and it's
what a
gentleman, nicely dressed, not like me, but
no, he's a class act, and obviously one of the, pioneers of swing guitar.
Yeah.
And he never met Django, although he played with Stefan Grappelli for many, many years. So, you know, I mean, just being able to meet your heroes and then play music with them on top of it all and have them embrace what you're doing. You know, Les always used to tell me, just do what you do. He said, don't change anything. Just do what you do. Play the music that you love to play and do what you do.
Because he's what, 88 and he's still playing?
Bucky, yeah. Yeah, still playing 200 shows a year. You know, we do probably 10 or 12 shows together every year. And, you know, go to his house. Were you at his house? When
No.
Go to his house. He has the coffee and the baked goods there, and you have to sit down and, you know, and he shows you all his guitars. It's pretty cool, yeah.
Looking forward to the show tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Nice
night.
place.
This is perfect setting
house,
for this festival. We got some great guests here. Oli from Finland, Dennis from Montreal, Vinny Raniolo I'm playing with, and a few other guys that I haven't met. So, you know, the great thing about guitars is you can have 20 guitar players and it sounds good. So I'm really looking forward to the jam session later.
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah.
Drink some Irish beer, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Tell me about the guitar.
This is a guitar
special,
built by Ryan Thorell. He's from Utah in the United States. He's a young guy, probably about 35 years old, and he built me this. And it's gorgeous, you know, it's mahogany. All mahogany except the top is Adirondack spruce. Adirondack spruce top, which is what they made the old Gibsons out of. This is a reissue DeArmond pickup, and it's the Gypsy shape, but it's arched just a little bit.
And
this headstock, the slotted.
Summer.
I mean, it's a pain to change the strings in these, but I think it adds to the warmth of the sound. So it's pretty cool, you know, and it travels well. Got a lot of nice signatures on the back from some of my guitar heroes.
Like?
Tommy Emmanuel.
Oh yeah, you played with
Noki Edwards from the Ventures. Al Caiola. I don't know if you know Al Caiola. He's 93 now. He had a bunch of hit songs in America, guitar player. And he was one of the big studio guitar players. He did... You ever hear that? No. Bonanza, a show called Bonanza. It was a big show, and all those Western guitar parts you hear on those classic American movies and TV shows, he was the guy. So he's 93 now. Wow. Yeah, it's very inspiring to be a young guitar.
Playing music makes you live longer.
You know, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. But I mean, just to, you know, see these guys still going strong, and then when they pick up a guitar, they turn into little kids. You know, the greatest players that I've ever played with and had the pleasure of meeting, when they pick up the guitar, it's like,
not work.
It's not work, you know. And Tommy Aman, George Benson, same thing. The guy sit there and play for you all day. If he was here, he'd have his guitar in his hand, you know, playing and singing for you. You know, it's really, it's a pretty special gift that we have. And I just love the fact that the music brings all the people together. Yeah. You know, like, this is a small town in the middle of Ireland, and there's going to be a few hundred people here. All with the same common goal, you know? Yeah, it's very cool for me. One of Django's friends in 1988, I did a tribute to Django in New York at a nightclub. And this is kind of before the gypsy jazz craze came in. So, you know, we were a big hit because no one was doing it back then. And a lady comes in from London to see the show. Came all the way from London to New York City, and she hands me 4 original photographs of Django that she took in London. They were friends.
And before the war?
During the war.
During the war?
When he went to London.
Wow.
So she gave me these 4 pictures. I still have them. The original black and whites, you know. Django next to his new car. She told me he bought the car, and then right after the picture he got in and drove it into a tree by accident and just left it.
Yeah. Run out of gas and left it there.
It's just so funny, you know. But they're great shots. One, he's holding a cigar in his 2 fingers on a rock, and you really see his hand, you know. It's pretty cool. I can send you copies of them. So, and then Stockolo, of course, he's kind of the king. an amazing guitar player. Robin Nolan out of Amsterdam, we just met up with him.
Oh, you
Yosho.
did I'm part of the Gypsy Jazz magazine.
What a great
you
idea.
You filmed all
Yeah,
that.
we did, yeah. So Robin's great. We met up with Yosho Stefan in Germany. We did a show with him.
Super nice guy.
So, and the guy is the greatest right hand I've ever seen. I've seen them all, and that guy just takes the cake. He has the greatest picking technique that I've ever seen. So clean. So again, it's great to, you know, travel around and meet all these players that have the same thing in common. Oli, where's Oli? There he is. You've heard him?
You play a bit with him, huh?
Yeah, a bit.
A bit more than a bit.
I just back him up, play a few chords, let him do all the work.
You just need to show him how to dance now.
Well, of course. We had him dancing though. We did some shows in New York and around
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Worst.
We wouldn't dance in New York. Right, only in New Jersey. Although I must say, I don't know if you knew this, Oli, but I have the pleasure of saying that Vinny and I have danced ballet at the Sydney Opera House in Australia. Yes.
I haven't even told me.
Yeah, we actually had the nerve
Very
to
proud.
dance Swan Lake.
Swan
But the
Lake.
Australians, they loved it. They were cheering us on. It's funny. Right? They were. It was great.
It was better than the real ballet.
Well, I don't know about
Better music, I guess.
that. Some guy came up to us and he said the other night, "Oh, I love the ballet dancing, Swan Lake, the scene where the swan died."
He said, "Are you gonna do the dead swan?"
Right, the dead swan scene. I was like,
I thought he was
"Oh
making fun of us.
boy." Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay. All right.
First time I played with Stockolo, I couldn't sleep for a week after that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing and seeing, and that was before the internet, so I'd never seen him. I heard a couple records, but then I saw him play. It was like, wow.
And the thing that amazed me with Sokalo was like so easy.
Looks like he's
Like some people you
taking a
see
nap.
them, yeah.
Right. He could fall asleep while he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Some people it's like, you know, it's painful.
Yeah,
or
painful,
something.
right, I know.
Especially when they go, you know. But him it's like,
Yeah, right.
oh, there's a fly over there. Oh.
Yeah, right, exactly, you know.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your time.
All right, that's it.
That's it.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you
Let's
very
keep
much.
drinking
Oh,
this
let's-
coffee. But
Actually,
you
is
tried
good.
the red wine. And
I did. We had a long travel day, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait until maybe after the show,
we'll get you more.
so I don't fall.